So The Batman is the newest Batman film to be released. It's directed by Matt Reeves. It stars Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Colin Farrell, and Paul Dano as the Riddler. I am a Batman nuffy. I've been watching the movies and reading the comics since I was a kid. I have tattoos relating to Batman. I have a bunch of fucking little statues. I play all the games. I read fanfics. I fucking watch the movies. I do everything Batman related, and I fucking love Batman. So when I first heard that they were going to do a new standalone Batman film after the Nolan series finished back in, I think, like 2012 was Dark Knight Rises, and Ben Affleck was going to be Batman, I was like, this is fucking sick. I cannot wait to see Ben Affleck be Batman and do his own Batman film and just fucking crush it. But as with all things, especially things that are handled by DC, it kind of all fell apart. Ben Affleck stopped being Batman, pulled himself away from directing the film as well and writing the film. In comes Matt Reeves, he rewrites the entire script, comes up with a brand new film, gives us Robert Pattinson as Batman, pulls in a bunch of great actors like Colin Farrell to play the Penguin, Paul Dano to play the Riddler, Zoe Kravitz to be Catwoman, Selena Kyle, and we have a new Batman film. I have been waiting 10 years to see a new Batman film. I don't count Batman v Superman, I don't count Justice League. Those are not fantastic films, and the Batman in that is not the Batman that I know and that I love. So I was very excited, but also a little bit hesitant about this new one coming out. But the more that I saw, you know, watching the trailers and hearing interviews and seeing set photos and stuff, I'm like, this is gonna be good. It has to be good, please. It was, in my opinion, the best Batman film to date, and it completely understands the character of Batman and Bruce Wayne. It completely understands the villains and the idea of the rogues gallery that Batman has. It understands all of that. It understands Gotham as a city. With the Nolan films, it looked great. It was all realistic, you know, that's fine. We love a realistic Batman, but it never felt like Gotham. You know, the only time it really felt like Gotham was probably Batman Begins. After that, it was really just whichever city they kind of filmed in. It didn't really have its own personality, and Gotham in on itself is a character. So it was awesome to see a fleshed out Gotham, like a city that really felt like that gothic, seedy underbelly, just piece of shit town where Batman has to just go and fucking do the business. Robert Pattinson was fantastic as Batman. I think his Bruce Wayne was really good too. A lot of people have been complaining about his portrayal of Bruce Wayne, but if you've ever read a comic book, you'll know that Bruce Wayne is very sad. He is basically a 12-year-old emo boy in a 30-year-old man's body. He is so stricken with grief and sadness, and he doesn't talk a lot. And he doesn't talk a lot in this movie. He is super sad. He's a grown-up emo boy. That is Bruce Wayne. Yes, of course he is like philanthropic and playboy and whatever, but he's not Tony Stark. He's never been Tony Stark. The Christian Bale Bruce Wayne had elements of this, but it didn't look like his trauma was affecting him at all. Whereas Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne, you can see that he's really deeply affected by his trauma, and that is, you know, become part of his full personality. So it was really, really cool to see that they did Bruce Wayne and they did Batman justice here. All the villains were fantastic. Catwoman and Penguin, so Zoe Kravitz and Colin Farrell, absolutely steal the show. I thought Catwoman was probably like the most fleshed out character in the entire film. She was fantastic. She had a full arc. She had motives that we could understand. We could see why she was doing the things that she was doing. One of the best written characters in a superhero film I've seen for a long while. Obviously, she's not the main character. She's not a villain per se, but she is sort of like a vigilante, like an anti-hero type. She has moments where she is villainous and moments where she is heroic. And the film really portrays that well, that she is this kind of yin and yang type character. You know, you've got Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot as the Penguin, and he crushes it, absolutely crushes it. If you didn't know Colin Farrell was in this movie, you'd be like, where is he? Because I'm not seeing him. I am not seeing him. The voice, you cannot hear Colin Farrell in that at all. His physicality, the makeup effects that they've put on him, blew me away. I was like, that is crazy, and one of my absolute favorite Colin Farrell performances of all time. He really does not get enough credit. The dude is so funny and so charismatic that every role he's in elevates the film. Even if it's a shitty film, he manages to elevate every single film that he's in. And of course, we have to talk about Paul Dano as the Riddler. Paul Dano, as we know, plays this type of character really really, really well. This sort of slightly unhinged, this offbeat, struggling type fella who has got a bit of darkness behind him. In this film, he goes like full Zodiac killer. He is the scariest Riddler that we've ever seen. Whenever he was on screen, he stole the show. Like, you could not look away. Batman, I feel like, took a slight backseat throughout this film to really show us how good his rogues gallery are. And I actually really like that. It was almost like it was a film for the rogues gallery, so for the three characters that we had, so Riddler, Catwoman, and Penguin. And how can I not talk about the cinematography and the soundtrack? Holy shit, this Batman theme is easily my favorite Batman theme of all time. Feels like it takes a little bit from Tim Burton's Batman 89 theme and stretches the notes. Like, you can hear little bits and pieces of Batman 89 in this score, but it just takes it to a whole nother level. And it's just, when you're hearing it in the cinema, it is just deafening and just stunning, and it gives you goosebumps. It is one of the best soundtracks for a film that I've ever heard. I've been listening to it non-stop all day today because I'm obsessed with it. The cinematography, this film is dripping with just gorgeous, gorgeous shots. You've seen some of them in the trailer, like the one where Batman's seen walking towards Penguin's car and he's got the explosions behind him. Really, really gorgeous. Like, everyone who worked on this film, there is no weak link at all. Everything about this film is absolutely outstanding. I loved it. I loved it, I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. So guys, I don't really want to spoil anything. All I can say is you need to go and see this film. You need to watch it. There are a few films you could probably watch before you watch this Batman film just to see the inspiration behind this movie. So definitely watch Zodiac and definitely watch Seven. Both David Fincher films, both heavily influenced this movie. And if you watch those, you'll probably have a real great appreciation for how good this movie is and for the beats that it follows. That's why I'm gonna give the Batman a 10 out of 10. So tell me guys, has anyone seen the Batman? Comment down below, let me know what you thought about it. I can do a spoiler review if you guys want to see me spoil some stuff, or if you want to talk more in depth about it. I could go on and on about this movie. This review is already going to be probably the longest review that I've got. So I'm going to cut it short and sweet here. Go and see this film. Support the fuck out of this film. If you love Batman, you will hopefully love this film. I have seen some people say that they didn't like it. Fuck those people. I love this movie. Go and see it. Give it your money. Support DC when they actually do good things. This is a good thing and we should be praising DC for doing this. So get out there, go and see it, and go enjoy the movie, guys, because I loved it and I'm going to go and see it again. So that was the review. Hope you really enjoyed it. As always, click through to another video. We'll keep having some fun. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.